All right, everyone, we have some huge news to get into here in this episode today in regards to the trophy reset changes coming out in this next update. One of the biggest changes coming to Brawl Stars in a very long time. So in the most recent episode of Time to Explain, the Brawl Stars podcast, they ended up going over one significant sneak peek. It seems smaller than most podcasts, but let me tell you what, it's a big one because we are finally getting all the details of that sneak peek, what's actually going to be changing with the trophy pushing system, and it is big. So ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the trophy system rework PowerPoint presented by yours truly, Ray BrawlStar. So there's a lot to digest with this change, and we're going to be going over everything in this episode so you guys know exactly what's going to be happening, and I'm going to break it down, try to give you guys my opinion on it. A lot of things good coming with this, and some things that I think are going to be a little bit of an issue for certain players. But the gist of it, there's new ranks, there's a new box, I should say boxes, and just overall new structures and systems with the added ranks and all that good jazz, which we will be diluting here in this episode. So for the introduction, they basically just sum up as the reasons why they want to change this system. And I think we can kind of all understand why the system needs a change. It's been a kind of lacking system. It's just old, right? It doesn't feel fantastic. The major issues are players who enjoy a certain amount of brawlers, maybe like you have 5 main brawlers. If you push them too high, it's really hard to enjoy playing with them because they're constantly high in trophies. While on top of that, they add that, you know, the rewards suck. Bling, just getting a handful of bling at the end of each trophy season reset is not that great. And so many other things, much like matchmaking times getting too high once you get in the higher trophy ranges, etc., etc. They go over the goals as to what they want to accomplish with this trophy reset. Honestly, I think it can be chalked up for a few different things. Number one, it's going to be cleaner, simpler, and I think they want to lean more into like the casual side of Brawl Stars, make it more rewarding for casual players, while at the same time, it's still going to be pretty dang competitive out there. But the first major change is going to be that they're adding more tiers. There's going to be a grand total of 50 tiers. We got used to the highest rank being 35, right? Rank, tier, whatever you want to call it. There's 50 ranks, 50 tiers now. Might be hard to comprehend the old system versus the new. Yeah, dude, it's a lot to take in. And again, with these types of episodes, I would love to hear what you guys are having to say. I think it's going to have a little bit of pushback, a tiny bit in the beginning, just because it's a wicked change. It's a huge one, and I think change is kind of hard for certain players, but I think it's pretty exciting. So let's go over the changes that are specifically happening to ranks and what they're going to look like when you're accumulating trophies on your brawlers. As I said before, there is a total of 50 tiers now, with the maximum, where it once was rank 35, it is just going to be called max tier. The max tier is going to be achievable at 1,000 trophies, and every single tier that you go up is going to be a window of 20 trophies. So every 20 trophies, you go up a tier. Looks like trophy gain and losses is going to be adjusted a little bit now that the highest trophy amount is going to be 1,000. You only start losing trophies more than you win at 1,100 trophies, which is kind of the mechanic that we see once we're trying to push higher ranks like rank 35 nowadays. So it's still going to be having that little bit of skill factor, that sweatiness aspect to it. So it's fun. Hey, there is a max rank at 1,000, but you can go past that, much like we know of today's rank system in Brawl Stars, and you'll be rewarded for trophies going past that, which we will be getting into later on in this episode. Trophy season will start and end at the same time as the Brawl Pass season, which I am a big fan of. And now the big points here, the kicker, the new monthly trophy season reset will always reset all brawlers back to 1,000 trophies, and there will be no trophy reset for brawlers below 1,000. Now, I'm not gonna lie, when I first read that, I was a little bit worried because one of the biggest arguments or complaints for more competitive players out there is the fact that they enjoy certain brawlers, they enjoy playing with a handful of brawlers, and once they get higher up in trophies, there's no real point to push them any further than just, you know, your own set goals. And if you get too high in trophies, it becomes way more difficult to play with those brawlers that you enjoy. But I think to curb this issue, they added rewards for going past the 1,000 trophy mark, which I find pretty dang cool, right? You have a new excuse to play with the brawlers that you like, not needing to like feel like you have to mindlessly push certain brawlers to a specific tier, you know what I mean? Just kind of like that monotonous grind that you feel sometimes in Brawl Stars. So it's time to get into the exciting part, the new mechanics once you go past 1,000 trophies on any particular brawler. Starting off with the first bullet point here, as we said before, once you get to 1,000 trophies, you'll hit that tier 50, the maximum tier, but the trophies you get after 1,000 will still be counted, but now they become season trophies, and they help you progress towards a new item, the trophy box. Pretty exciting if you ask me. And the third bullet point just assures that everyone's going to be able to have fun with this new trophy box. You don't have to push a brawler past 1,000 trophies. Sometimes that's not in the wheelhouse for players out there, right? Unless you want to sweat. At the end of every trophy pushing season, the base level box will also be available for everyone who has at least 1,500 total trophies, but those who push past 1,000 trophies on individual brawlers, it goes to those boxes so that you can upgrade the box, right? So a little bit more about this box and how it upgrades and the tiers that are associated with the new trophy box. It looks freaking sick, dude. It's a cutout of the Omega box, I believe, and just changed for colors, right? So they establish, instead of just getting bling, we'll be getting the new trophy box, which I'm a big fan of, baby. Trophy box unlocks once you get a brawler past 1,000 trophies or if you reach 1,500 total trophies. And this is the fun mechanic that we get into in the second bullet point. Any trophies gained above 1,000 trophies are now season trophies. Season trophies level up your trophy box. So for the sweatiest players out there, you can get the maximum leveled up trophy box and it'll give you more rewards. So a reason to push more. And I'll give you guys my final thoughts on this a little bit later on. The trophy box has 5 specific levels. Small, which everyone, I'm assuming this is the one that we're going to be getting if you have at least 1,500 total trophies. So everyone will get a trophy box at the end of the trophy pushing season. But then we have big, mega, omega, and ultra. So it seems like there is a new verbiage or a new tier of boxes, right? We've never heard of anything ultra. The bigger the box, the better and more rewards you'll be getting. I don't think this bullet point is that important. They're just assuring that the rewards that we're getting right now won't be lost. We'll be getting more bling, but let's be honest, who cares about the bling that we get at the end of every single trophy reset now? I mean, it's so minuscule. But what's inside the boxes, right? Very important. Is it progression or other things? And they elaborate that the contents of the trophy box are going to be mainly cosmetic, including a guaranteed skin, and depending on the level of the box, it can also even contain a mythic, legendary, or hypercharged skin and gems. Really interesting. So they give a visual example of how these tiers are going to look and what we can assume to be in them here moving forward. So we can see some artwork as to what these boxes are as well. We got the small, big, mega, omega, and ultra. And we can also see kind of a little graphic as to how this is going to look when we are going past that required trophy amount when we reset back to 1,000 trophies on our brawlers. It'll go to this counter during the trophy pushing season and you'll see what box you're upgrading to or where you're at, right, in your progression. So the big takeaway from this is no, these boxes are not going to be progression based, which I don't think will be a huge issue for anyone out there, seeing that I feel like ever since the trophy reset has been a thing inside of Brawl Stars throughout the history, it's never been progression based. I don't think. There might have been a time where we got like power points, stuff like that, but a long time ago it was star points and now bling for the longest time. So a lot of the time on these trophy resets, it's been cosmetic, but I guess the bigger changes and the more exciting changes here is the amount or the coolness of it, the random skins that we can get from it, as well as I'm really curious to see how many gems are in these, like the potential or how much we can actually get. Like if you do get to the ultra trophy box, how many gems can you possibly get? That could be a fantastic avenue for free-to-play players to stockpile gems and help with their progression, right? So technically adding a little bit of progression in there with the source being gems. They end up saying, but isn't it grindy to get there? It is grindy to get there at higher level boxes, but if you play the same amount as you are playing today, you'll still be getting more rewards than you were when we had this trophy system that we're in right now. But you can see some of these amounts that we need to get, right? 1,000 trophies past 1,000 for the big box. Everyone's going to be getting this one, but then it just continues. And then the ultra box, we need 3,000 trophies past 1,000. So man, I guess for casuals, that's going to be really, really challenging to get there. But for any of you guys who push like really high up there, maybe like the 80,000, 90,000 trophy range, I don't think this is going to be that hard for you, right? If you look at this, right? Some of those players who at the end of the trophy pushing season, they're pushing multiple brawlers to rank 35 at 1,250 trophies. You need at least 12 brawlers to 1,250 trophies to get that ultra trophy box. So that's definitely in the wheelhouse for some players out there, right? A lot of people will be able to get this, but just taking a look at some of the jumps here, it's not like it's going to be that big of a difference. Say, for example, this jump, which I feel like is very attainable for a lot of people out there, the Omega trophy box. It's only 1,000 trophies past 1,000, which ain't that bad, man. And the jump in actual things that we get out of it, see, we go from 6, 8, 10, and then a huge jump to 16, and then a smaller jump than that to the Ultra. So I think the most value for your effort is going to be in this one, which I think is very attainable. But as you can see, we get 16 minimum items in the drop. We get a guaranteed epic skin out of that. We have can drop rarities, a epic, mythic, as well as there's other possible rewards down there in any of these boxes, I'm assuming. But I guess the main hang up, if you do want to get some cool stuff, the real value-based stuff like the hypercharged skins and stuff are only attainable in the Ultra trophy box, where we can also get legendaries out of that. But either way, a very exciting change, I would say, definitely in comparison to the system that we have now. Before we move on, I think this is one of the most important things that I would love your guys' opinions on. I would love the feedback in the comments down below. What are you thinking about this? I think it has hints of casual, right? I think the main lean is casual for players, right? But I guess it still has that grindy aspect for those players who really push a lot and are consistently up there in the leaderboards. They are also going to be rewarded, right? But with that being said, why don't we get to other things that are going to be changing with this, and that is, of course, matchmaking. They clarified that there's going to be some changes to matchmaking, but most of those changes are going to be happening to brawlers past 1,000 trophies, or that grinding aspect past there. But before we move on, you guys can see a little bit of a graphic what it is going to look like once these changes are implemented, where we can see how far we're progressing to our next box at the end of every single match and the trophies that we accumulate from that. And we can see the max rank and the different looks that we can see here, right? It's pretty cool. I don't know. It's a change though. It's gonna take a little bit of time to get used to this, but I don't know, it's pretty cool. There's Shelly's at 1,515 trophies. Pretty high up there, man. It starts getting really interesting here for any of you guys who are real sticklers on the long matchmaking. When you get higher up in trophies, the changes are really exciting, I think. Matchmaking will consider brawler trophies and will not try to match players with similar trophy counts. So that's being taken out of the equation. The main difference here is after you achieve 1,000 trophies on a brawler, the max tier, players will all be in the same matchmaking pool. This should help with matchmaking times in high trophy brawler matches. So if you're a grinder out there and you're grinding a brawler at 2,200 trophies, say, really hard to do, you'll be going up against players that are at that 1,000 trophy mark in that, or getting past that separation, or getting into the past 1,000 trophy pool. So this will most definitely help out with those people who are trying to go for higher trophy milestones out there. There's just going to be an abundance of players, way more than there were before, to get queued into. But I do have to say, for any of you guys out there who have like trophy milestone records and stuff like that in particular brawlers, I think some of that is going to change a little bit with some of these changes. It might be a bit easier to push higher up in trophies. So the sanctity of those milestones or those achievements might be in question a little bit now moving forward, but I don't know if that's an issue. As we stated before, you only start losing more trophies than you gain after 1,100 total trophies on a brawler. As we said before, you only start losing more trophies than you gain after 1,100 total trophies. And another big one, underdog gets removed after 1,000 trophies. So it's almost like, you know, once you get into that 1,000 trophy range on a brawler, you're kind of thrown out into the wild with all the other hungry wolves out there, the crazy players. So it's opening up a new window of like really competitive gameplay up at that point, right? It's not just going to be super long matchmaking queues. It's going to be like people up there wanting to get trophies so they can get their boxes, you know? So it's going to be fun up at that trophy range. I think it's going to be really competitive. One of my biggest hangups on this, that it's a significant change, and I think some people might have a little bit of an issue with, but win streaks will be tied to individual brawlers to make trophy pushing more fair. So it's not going to be overall trophy win streak. So you can't just switch to another brawler and continue that win streak. The win streak is only going to be applied to the specific brawler that you're pushing. Now, I don't know much about whether it's like if you hop into a match with, say, Edgar and you win 10, you're on a 10 win streak. If you switch to Mortis for a game, are you going to lose that 10 win streak on Edgar, or are you going to keep it? I'm not quite sure. But I know some of those people out there who are really grinding total win streak milestones, like we just mentioned on the channel. Someone managed to get to 4,000. Those types of pushes are going to be lost cost moving forward here, unless you're miraculously able to do that on an individual brawler, which I don't think is possible. It's not. Moving along here, but does this mean that pros and the casuals will all be in the same pool after 1,000 trophies? As we mentioned before, they do clarify yes, but it's not going to be as competitive as it once was, where there's going to be a much larger pool of people up in that 1,000 trophy range. So it's not like you're just going to be going up against pros. They clarify that the amount of pros that you're going to be going up against is going to be much smaller than it was before. So hey, I think it's pretty interesting. It's a new territory, right? I'm excited to push a brawler past 1,000 trophies and just see how that gameplay feels. You know what I mean? I bet you it's going to be really competitive. But getting into another really significant change outside of matchmaking, that is the leaderboard changes, right? Very important for a small percentage of people out there, those that grind the leaderboards. For the sweaty ones out there, we'll have 2 leaderboards per brawler. Interesting. A seasonal leaderboard that'll get reset every single season, and an all-time leaderboard, bro. That's really exciting. It tracks the highest trophy counts ever reached with that brawler. Dude, no more do we have to like try to figure out who has the world record and stuff. There's going to be a leaderboard for that in game. That's really cool. And it gets even more cool here. For each time you make it to the top and enter the seasonal leaderboard, you'll get a prestige icon for your profile. That icon then features a number that increases each time you place in the top with at least 1 brawler once per season. So another grindy element, one of those flex worthy things, and we can see what that prestige icon would look like. So I think that's really, really cool. I think stuff like this is really, really important for some players out there who enjoy flex worthy things, much like those players that push masters every single season so that they have those stars above their profile, stuff like that. Things like this I think are important. Reading through this whole thing before, I am a little bit worried because I don't know if they clarified this 100%, but the leaderboards that they say are going to be in game are 2 brawler leaderboards. So I don't know if they are getting rid of the overall trophy leaderboard, which I think is really important in Brawl Stars as of right now, or if they're just adding 2 additional ones. I hope they don't touch the overall trophy leaderboard. I don't know what that's going to look like. It's going to be completely different anyway, right? The overall trophies, but I think that's a really important thing for a lot of players out there, right? That sweaty grind for #1 overall in the world for total trophies. So I hope they don't touch that, but I don't think they clarify anything about that here in this prompt. So a little bit worried. But next up, another really important aspect of this, and that is previous achievements, right? For those players out there who have managed to reach rank 35, right? Rank 35 is not going to be a thing now moving forward, or rank 30. It's all going to be changed to these 1 to 50 tier system here, the max tier. If in the current system you have brawlers at tier 35, you might be wondering if it was all in vain, and the answer is partly. Oof, that hurts. But your achievement will live forever. Players that have at least 1 brawler at tier 35 will get the unique pin that you can see up here, a rank 35 icon or pin here. But I guess the most prestigious one here, players that have at least 10 brawlers at tier 35 will get a new exclusive title only available to those who achieve this feat before the rework. Oh my gosh. #1, I think it's going to be a loud minority of people who are going to be having an issue with this, right? The players who have gotten more than 10 35s, right? Your crying mans out there who have pushed every single brawler to rank 35, or, you know, like Sands and stuff like that. It looks like the achievement or the prestige of previous rank 35 achievements stop at the highest tier being at least 10. So I think that's going to be an issue for some people out there, but a fun opportunity for those of you out there who don't have 10 yet. Personally, what I'm going to be doing is trying to get 10 rank 35s because I only have 2 on my main account. I've pushed rank 35s in my day, right? I have multiple rank 35s on different accounts, but this is like a huge motivation to get at least 10 because this exclusive icon or the exclusive title is not going to be available to be achieved after this rework. So it's going to be kind of like a Star Shelly thing over again. Your account just becomes that much more rare down the line, you know, because you'll never be able to get it again. So if you don't have 10 rank 35s, it might be in your best interest, or if this is important to you, to really try to gear up before the next update and grind your butt off. Get 10. Moving along here for more clarification, your all-time high will be taken into account for this. So if you've had a brawler at tier 35 in previous seasons, but not in the current one, that will still count. So again, just if you've achieved rank 35 of any of your brawlers, all you need is 10. Oh, okay, I guess this might be enough for certain people out there. The total number of brawlers you've ever had to tier 35 will also be marked on your profile, so it's not going to be lost forever. So I guess that might be okay for certain players out there. But then the final point, in the first trophy season reset after the update, every brawler above 1,000 trophies will be reset back to 1,000. So fresh, clean slate, 1,000 trophies. We only have a little bit more to get into, and then we'll wrap up with some closing thoughts on my end. When will this happen? A lot of the changes will already happen on update day, which will come near the end of October. If you have a brawler over 1,000 trophies, you will already be able to add progress to your first trophy box that will drop with a season reset right after the Scary Tales season ends on November 7th. And then finally, important, take into account that some of the values mentioned here are not final and may change by the time the update is released. And yeah, dude, that's the conclusion of the post. A massive, massive change to the way that we play Brawl Stars, or the way that we once played Brawl Stars here once this update drops, right? A huge overhaul to the trophy pushing system in the game. As for a little breakdown, me playing this game as long as I have, I feel like I have a little bit of a reign over this game and kind of what the community perception is going to be about this. But, you know, down to it, my personal beliefs. Am I excited? What are my thoughts about this change? Coming from somewhat of a casual player, I think this is really exciting for casuals out there, and it still has elements of things that will keep sweatier players entertained, right? But let's not beat around the bush. This is an implementation that is more catered towards the casual players inside of Brawl Stars, right? The highest level obtainable with the trophy boxes and stuff like that, I think honestly, if you really tried hard and you were somewhat of a casual player, you can get close to, if not to the final box. If not the final box, I think the Omega box or the Omega trophy box is very obtainable for most casual players out there. But even if it is for casual players, I don't think that's a huge issue if we're taking a look at what was offered with the previous trophy reset system in the game, right? It was never feeling that crazy good, and the rewards were abysmal. So I think when you're looking at that standpoint, it is a definite upgrade, right? In terms of rewards, as well as just the feeling of the system overall. But I think there are some things that are going to be taken an issue with for certain people out there, namely the small minority, right? The sweatier players out there. I think they did a decent job at addressing that issue that a lot of players have, where their favorite brawlers get too high in trophies and they feel like they can't push them. A very common practice inside of Brawl Stars is once you get higher up in trophies, you push them down on your own accord in Showdown, tilting trophies so you can just play the brawl that you enjoy playing without sweating your butt off with randoms at high trophies. Like, come on, even if you're a great player, it's hard to carry randoms in like the 1,000 trophy range. There's going to be a ceiling that you hit where it just isn't fun to play with those brawlers that you enjoy. So what they're doing here isn't necessarily addressing that, seeing that once you achieve 1,000 trophies, anywhere past that, you're just going to be reset back to 1,000, and that brawler will stay at 1,000 forever. It's never going to be below 1,000 unless you tilt it yourself, right? After every single trophy reset, everything goes back to 1,000, every brawler. But I suppose where the kind of reward feedback comes into play is, yeah, your favorite brawlers aren't going to be at 1,000, but the motivation to push them will be there to accumulate those trophy points to add to those boxes at the very end. So I guess it's not a perfect change that I think a lot of people wanted, but there's at least something there to motivate you to play with those brawlers at a higher trophy range. You'll have to let me know what you're thinking about that one. Now, there are a few other things that I think are going to be taken an issue with, and I think mainly because of change itself, right? Us being with the current ranks that we had in the game for as long as we had, rank 30, rank 35, they're synonymous with Brawl Stars, right? They're so embedded with this game that they mean something totally different, you know, like that prestigious. Once you get a brawler to rank 35, it means something huge. And even like lower ranks, rank 30, your first rank 30 is going to make you feel really, really like insane, amazing, because of how long they've been in the game. And since we're moving into this new tier system, I think losing those tiers that we've gotten used to might be a little bit of an issue. There's not much prestige around the ranks or the tiers that we have now moving into this, right? Getting to max tier, I don't think is going to feel the same as getting like a rank 35 or a rank 30, right? But I think that is just going to take some time to get used to, but I think that could be an issue. And then for kind of the smaller things that's only going to affect like a group of people, and that is the people who've pushed more than 10 rank 35s. I guess you're getting rewarded with the amount that you've pushed already on your profile, so I guess that's something. something, but I think also the win streaks, that change might become a little bit of an issue for certain players out there as well. But other than that, I think it's a decent change. Again, when it comes to some of the most recent changes in Brawl Stars, you can tell the Brawl Stars dev team is catering towards the casual players, and I think it makes a ton of sense that they're doing that with some of the graphs that we saw during the podcast being like the huge influx of new players in this game. Like what, 50% of the players that are playing now, I'm making this up, but it's something close to that. 50% of the players playing now are new, that came with like the last 3 updates of this game. So I guess it makes sense that they are catering to casuals, but I guess there are some facets. It's not like they're totally neglecting the sweatier players out there. There are still some questions that need to be answered, much like the overall trophy leaderboards, how that's all going to change and feel for the players who that's a huge deal for. Seeing that the whole system is changing, I don't know how that's going to look for just the meta of pushing overall trophies here in the future, but I guess only time will tell with that. But either way, I would love to hear what you guys are thinking. This is all a lot to take in, but I think it's exciting. I love changes like this. Improving places in Brawl Stars that I think are lacking, I think is really important. And it's been a while since we've had something like this, so really, really excited. But yeah, I think I'm gonna leave you guys on that note. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate you all, and we'll be talking super soon. Adios. Take care.